Hello friends, welcome to Tanshi'S Fun World. In today's video we're gonna do class 7 chapter 1 from Science Ncert, Nutrition in Plants. So here you can see plants are obtaining nutrients by the process of photosynthesis. We'll study the whole chapter right now. So let's begin. Now we have, why do living organisms need food? All living organisms require food. They need food to survive on earth. Now we have types of nutrients, which is carbohydrate, fats, vitamins and minerals, and protein. Now what is the use of nutrients? Why do we take in nutrients? The nutrients enable living organisms to build their body, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their body. Now types of nutrition: autotrophs and heterotrophs. Auto means cell, tropho means feed. Heterotrophs means obtain energy through intake and digestion of organic substances, animal, plant tissue. If you don't understand this language, I'll tell you in simple language, which is autotroph. Auto means self and tropho means feed. And here tropho is same, that is feed, but hetero means others. Now autotroph, self-nourishment or self-feed, that is organisms which take their own food, which prepare their own food, is called autotrophs. Example, plants. Heterotrophs, other nourishment or other feed, which organisms take their food from other organisms, are called heterotroph. Example, animals including human, and some species of plants which we will study later in this video. Now food factories of the plants. What are the food factories of the plants? Yes, it is the leaf. Now photosynthesis. What is a photosynthesis? Let's read these points. Chlorophyll is a green substance which traps sunlight. Now you can see in the picture there is a leaf which has a green color. This green color is present due to the presence of chlorophyll. This chlorophyll helps the leaf to trap the sunlight energy so that it can make the process happen. It is found in special organelles called chloroplasts, which are inside plant cells. Now leaf has some cells in which there are chloroplasts. Chloroplast is an organelles in which chlorophyll is present. Chlorophyll gives plants their green color. So you can see here photosynthesis process is. Now we have, you can see there are guard cells, and these are stomas. Stoma is stomata. You can see this is a leaf, and this is the inner structure or the closer view for stomata. You can see this is the stomata openings, the little tiny dots. These are stomata opening, and the between is a stomata opening. This is more about photosynthesis. Now photosynthesis can be represented in the following equations: CO2 plus H2, which is carbon dioxide plus water, with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll makes carbohydrates plus oxygen. Now what is an algae? You can see this green, dark green patches, slimy patches. This is an algae. What is algae? You often see slimy green patches in ponds or in stagnant water bodies. You may see, like I showed you, the green patches that are algae. These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. So these green patches are formed because these are algae. They contain chlorophyll and can synthesize their own food by them. So we saw that they have green color, so obviously they have chlorophyll. Now if they have chlorophyll, they can make their own food. Now we have synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are mainly formed by carbon dioxide, hydrogen and oxygen. These components are also used to synthesize other components of food such as fats and proteins, but proteins contain nitrogen. Now these three gases, which are carbon dioxide, hydrogen and oxygen, are also used to make fats and proteins, but proteins contain nitrogen too. From where does plants obtain nitrogen? Yes, nitrogen is present in the air. You may say there is 78% nitrogen present in the air, but plants need nitrogen in a soluble form for its uses. So some bacteria in the soil converts nitrogen into nitrates and fix them in the soil. We'll study a bacteria in this video. Thus plant can fulfill its nitrogen requirement in this manner. So there are some bacteria in the soil or you can say roots of the plant that converts the nitrogen from the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates and fix them in the soil. So plants can fulfill its requirement from there. Nitrotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. So as I told you that autotrophic and heterotrophic are there. Plants are heterotrophic. Some species of plants are heterotrophic. There are some plants who do not have chlorophyll. Now some plants do not have chlorophyll, so obviously they cannot synthesize their food. Thus such plants can synthesize their own food. Like here I have done a message. Thus such plants, yes, it's correct. Thus such plants cannot synthesize their own food. Like human and plants, their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. Now their mode will be obviously heterotrophic. Parasites, which is parasite plants. Now a parasite is a heterotrophic plant which grows on a host plant. It obtain its nutrients from the host plant is growing on. Now a parasitic plant grows on a host plant. That host plant is never seen and you will never imagine that it's a parasitic plant. Now example of parasitic plants is Cascuta, which is in Hindi we call it amar. Now this is how amarbel looks. Okay, so now comes insectivorous plants. Now this is a pitcher plant that is a species of insectivorous. What is the principles of insectivorous plants? Now insectivorous plants are heterotrophs as they feed on insects. When an insect lands on the pitcher, the lid gets closed and the insect gets entangled into the hair. The insect is digested by the digestive juices into the pitcher plant. Such insect-eating plants is called insectivorous plants. Now they are called insectivorous plants. It traps insect by its color and its fragrance. Now we have types of nutrients, which is carbohydrate, fats, vitamins and minerals, and proteins. Now the question comes, what is fungi? You must have also observed some fluffy patches growing in moist soil or on rotting wood during rainy season. These organisms are called fungi. You must have seen that your mother or your relatives have wood kept, they rot wood. You must have seen leaf relatives. You must have seen when you have gates or you have a wooden plank left outside and there is rainy seasons, the wood becomes a little moisty and a type of different. They have a different mode of nutrition. This type of nutrition is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition. In this type of nutrition, organisms obtain its nutrients from dead and decaying matter. Now here, if we say that in this type of nutrition, saprotrophic mode, the organisms take their nutrients from dead and decaying matter. Fungi also grows on pickles, leathers and other articles that are left in hot and humid conditions. Now in rainy season, both the conditions appear, hot and humid conditions. So there are some examples for fungi, that is pickle, leather and other articles. Generally fungal spores through which fungi is made is called fungal spores. When they land on wet and warm things, they germinate and grow. Now, symbiosis. What is symbiosis? Some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrition. This relationship is called symbiosis. For example, fungi lives inside the roots of certain plants. Plants provide nutrients to the fungi, and in return, fungi provides water and certain nutrients to the plant. Fulfill their needs through each other. Lichens. Now, in organisms called lichens, a chlorophyll containing partner, which is an alga, and a fungus live together. Now remember, the alga is the singular form of algae. The fungus provides shelter, water, and alga. In return, fungus provides food to the alga. So this picture shows how the lichens look. This is a lichen. You must not identify the two organisms, but they are. You learned that plants absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil, so their amount in the soil keeps on declining. Fertilizers and manures contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. So you must have seen farmers in the fields adding fertilizers, or even government adds some fertilizers in the soil in the public areas. What does that fertilizer contains? What is the use of that fertilizer? That fertilizer contains manure, or the fertilizers and the manures contain nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. To enrich the soil, these nutrients has to be added. We can grow plants and keep them healthy if we can fulfill the nutrient requirement of plants. We can grow plants, or we can take care of the plants if we can fulfill the nutrient requirement of the plants. Usually, crop plants absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in nitrogen. Now, crop plants, they take a lot of nitrogen from the soil, and the amount of nitrogen in the soil keeps on declining. So, where we were? Yes, you learned that though nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air cannot use them in manner. They can use nitrogen in this form. They can take nitrogen from the soil, not from the air, but they can take carbon dioxide from the air. Nitrogen. So they need nitrogen in the soluble form. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into the usable form. So there is a bacteria called rhizobium which is that is present in soil and in roots of the plants, which can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a usable form for plants. But rhizobium cannot make its own food, so it often lives in the roots of gram, peas, moong, beans, and other legumes and provide them with nitrogen. So here are some examples I have written in which rhizobium lives. In return, the plant provides food and shelter to the bacteria. They thus have a symbiotic relation. They both are sharing something, so they are symbiotic. Now we have types of nutrients, which is carbohydrate, fats, vitamins and minerals, and proteins.